Hey mamas, I'm Brooke Miller, registered dietitian, certified lactation counselor, and a mama who has helped hundreds of moms feel like themselves again after baby, boost their energy, mood, metabolism, and even milk supply. Inside of the Postpartum Shift podcast, you'll learn how to take care of your health so that you can show up best for the ones you care about most. Each week, we'll tackle topics like nutrition, exercise, breastfeeding, mental health, and so much more. Plus, you'll get access to guest experts who will share ways to make your pregnancy and postpartum experience easier. Whether you're approaching the postpartum period or you're right in the thick of it, you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's topic. Hey guys, today we're going to be uncovering all of the things that your employer does not want you to know about maternity leave. We're going to be covering how to get more time off, how to make more money, how to have more time with your new baby. And I brought on my friend Diane because she's an expert on this topic. Can you introduce yourself, how you got into this, and why you do what you do?
Absolutely. And thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Yes, so I am Diane Gatza, and I am the founder and CEO of California Maternity Leave Consulting. So we help women in the state of California currently, as we are getting ready to expand, but currently in the state of California, maximize every single maternity benefit that they may or may not be aware of. Right? And how to secure it with your employer. And, some of our clients are out for a year fully paid, which is amazing. So I didn't get a degree in this. There's no college courses on how to do this, but I went to school to be a licensed engineer. I graduated and I worked as an engineer for 10 years. And while I was doing that, I had two little ones. I went on two amazing maternity leaves. My first one was 5 months fully paid. And then my second one, I negotiated a 10-month maternity leave where I made more money on my maternity leave than I did working full time as an engineer. And so many women were like, what are you doing? Like, how did you do that? Like, what's the secret? And I'm like, well, of course, like you just have to do this and do these like three things and put this together and stack these times and do this. And to me, I think it came intuitively because as an engineer, we go to school to become engineers and whatever that means, but we really go to solve problems. So I love solving problems. And I feel like when there's something that I have a problem with and I overcome it, I want to bring that to other people. And even back when I was in college, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so I've been through cancer and like chemo and radiation and all of that when I was in college. So it gave me a really deep understanding of the value of health insurance, the value of benefits. Like this was back in the day, if anybody remembers, when there was like a booklet of like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like before you could scan for providers on the internet or like on a phone, they would send you like a phone book type thing of like providers and you had to just like try to go through and find people. So navigating that. And then my first job out of college, I remember seeing a woman come back from her maternity leave and she was like, I went over to her desk to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And by the way, I think I had just been married. Like we weren't even talking about having a family yet, but I went over to this woman's desk, super excited. How was your leave? And she was just bawling at her desk. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what happened? And I just remember her saying, like, I shouldn't be back yet. I'm not ready to be back. I shouldn't be back. I should like, that's all like, I don't even know. We probably talked for 20 minutes and that's all I can hear in my head. It was so profound. And I'm like, what? I thought everybody said we work at this great place that has the quote unquote Cadillac of benefits. I was like, well, what's going on? I was like, I'm going to go look into this because if anybody follows human design, I'm a 5-1 profile, which means like I am a heretic and I'm like a digger. Like I'm somebody that just like, I
A
need to know.
detective.
Yeah. I like have to get all the information. I'm like, what is this? Like, why is she back? Like, this doesn't make any sense. So then I looked at our documents and I found out that actually HR did not share one of the benefits with her where she could have gotten 2 more weeks of paid leave. Two. Okay. And I think the pay was going to be like almost $2,000 a week from this policy we had. So another
Wow.
$4,000 that she could have been home. And I remember I showed it to her. I went to her desk, like, I don't know, a week later or whatever. She's like, no way. Are you serious? So we went to HR together. Okay. And we walked up there and we showed them this document, like, what is this? Like, and then the HR was trying to say, like, oh, we have such good benefits, like our retirement or this. And like, no, no, lady, we are here talking about this right in front of your eyeballs. Like, get back to the facts, like, get back to what's on the table. Why did you not explain this to her? Why are we even having this conversation? Why did nobody tell us that we have these benefits?
Right.
And she's like, oh, that's your responsibility. That's what she told this woman. Anyways, I
Especially for
remember.
a woman to say that to another woman, like the audacity.
Yeah, I've even seen it I mean, we've worked with over 3,000 women. And I will tell you, some women tell us like their female supervisors or bosses or HRs are actually more tough on them than some of the men because it's like, well, I didn't get that. So I don't want
I,
you to get it.
That's so funny. My husband and I just had this discussion. So his work
Mm,
actually gives, I think it's like, it's a long time for the primary caregiver. And then
right.
for the secondary caregiver, he got 4 weeks full pay, which was really nice, I think. He was ready to go back after 4 weeks, but he said some of his female coworker was upset about it because she had a kid 25 years ago and she got no leave. And so she's like, you're not even the primary caregiver. You didn't even give birth. Why are you getting 4 weeks full pay and I have to do your job when you're gone? And she was like upset about it. Right. And I think you're right. I
Yeah.
do think that there's people who are probably upset by it or like, well, I didn't get that benefit 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So like, you don't deserve to get that. And which is just so unfair. It's like, we should be supporting moms, not.
Yeah, we should. And you know where we see it too? We don't just see it on like the going outside to on maternity leave, but we see it on the coming back side where women come back and they go back into they're on their maternity leave for whatever period of time. And then they go back to work. And then maybe they're having emotional distress or they really shouldn't be back. Like they really need to be
Mhm.
at home with their baby. Like their heart is pulling at them. They are very emotional, something is not right, and then they go to work and then other women are telling them like, oh, it will pass with time, don't worry, it gets easier with time. Like, yeah, because you numb the feeling, not
Right.
because the feeling goes away because you rectify it. It's just like you get so used to like, well, this is just how it is because these women
Mhm.
are telling me this is how it is. You just get over it. And so then women are like, okay, I guess I just gotta stomach it and like, push through it. And then eventually I'll like feel better. And, maybe you do, maybe you don't, maybe you numb out on it, or maybe you finally leave that job or find something more aligned, who knows? But I mean, we see it quite a bit with women
Yeah.
going out on leaves and then, like I said, coming back in terms of like lack of resources and just generally like lack of support. So
Yeah, that's so hard. And what are some of
yeah.
the biggest mistakes that you're seeing women make when it comes to not utilizing all the benefits that they could be getting with maternity leave?
Okay, let me just say this. If I could talk for 5 hours, I could go through all the mistakes we see. I'll just like distill it down to like some of like the biggest ones that I
Yeah.
think if women realize like, oh, that might be me, like then there should be like a little red flag or like a little like ding 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 alarm bell where you're
Yep.
like, wait a minute, like let me go look into this. I think the biggest red flag is just trusting your HR. Like the hands down, the biggest one is trusting that your company is going to tell you everything and they're going to look out for you. I think we all know HR is here to protect the company. Okay, that's fine and fair. But then some women will tell us, my HR person's like super sweet and like really wants to help me. And I'm like, I think that's great. But also, like, at the end of the day, are they really invested in making sure that you are away from your job the longest and like at home bonding with your baby and creating an environment where they have to like backfill for maybe in the state of California, you can be out for 7 months, like where your employer cannot retaliate against you and your employer cannot discriminate against you, like 7 months. Okay. Is that HR person really incentivized to like create an environment where like they're showing you how to do that? I think the answer is no. And I think
Hmm.
we see a lot of that with myself, like being somebody who was diagnosed with cancer. Like I went and got a second opinion, right? Like, so we love doctors. We could trust doctors. They can be here to help us. They take the Hippocratic oath to like serve people and want health for their patients. And yet we still go get second opinions. Why? Because we want to be sure. So I
Hmm.
always think when women, if you're not getting a second opinion, and I'm not talking about your girlfriend, your sister, your coworker, your cousin. I'm saying an expert who just does this day in and day out, somebody who
Yeah.
really knows how this works. You're probably leaving something on the table, even with the best employer. And then we kind of go down to like, less than desirable employers, I'll say, where I've seen employers withhold benefits. I've seen employers lie to women, and whether or not the lying was like on purpose or just they were ill informed,
Right.
they didn't know. We also see a lot of companies, especially smaller ones, where small companies like they'll have one person go out on maternity leave once every 3 years, 5 years, like maybe never. Maybe you're the first person they've ever seen that's going out on
Hmm.
maternity. They have no clue, And so trusting that these people have done all the research, are up to date on what's going on in 2025, as of this recording right now, like when legislation is constantly changing and like benefits are always changing, yeah, is I think the hugest mistake anybody could make is just trusting and taking at face value without really exploring your HR benefits.
I'm curious too, for California and for a lot of
Mhm.
states, who is paying out the benefits? Is it a mix of like the state itself and the company itself, or is it the company is responsible? Like, I'm just curious of how that works.
Depends, right? So there's 13 states in the United States that currently offer paid leave programs through their states. California being one of them. Some other ones like New Jersey, Colorado, New York,
Colorado.
heyo, that's right. So like, and a lot of states have legislation that's currently in, the state legislature, right? That is trying to pass, benefit packages for employees, right? Where you're
Mhm.
essentially, as an employee, you're paying into these systems, you're paying in through payroll taxes,
Gotcha.
not through your state income tax. So people, I think there's also, I see this a lot with maternity benefits. Like people, a lot of these women feel really guilty about taking the benefits or taking all their time. There's so
And you're
much
like, you're
guilt.
paying for this, so take it.
Yeah. And I always tell women, I'm like, it's not like a handout. This isn't like filing for welfare, or this isn't like filing for like in California, it's called CalFresh, which is like food stamps. It's not like filing for WIC, like these benefits that some women in disadvantaged communities need. It is not that. It's not paid for through your like income tax dollars. There are like specific taxes on your payroll where you're actually paying into an insurance program that you probably don't even know that you have access to. So it's like
Yeah.
you're paying for Geico on your car, and then your car breaks down the side of the road, but you're like, oh, I'll just go pay cash to fix it, when even though
Hmm.
I've got this great insurance policy that will pay me out and my premium never goes up. Like, why would I not file a claim on that? But so many women don't know. So 13 states have these programs, they pay to the state. All the other states, it's either the state doesn't have anything currently and they're looking for benefits to their employer, or women who are pre-pregnancy, meaning they're not pregnant, can go out and secure their own insurance policies.
Oh,
So
wow.
we don't need to rely on our employers. We don't need to rely on the state. Like, we can take control of our own
That's
maternity leave
great.
pay and go get a
Heck
policy ourselves.
yes. Oh, 100%. That's so funny. Now that you say that, I work for myself, obviously, as you know, as you do.
Yes.
And my CPA, he was just like, hey, Colorado just passed this. Are you having more kids? And I was like, nope, we're done. Snippity snip. It's closed. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, if you were going to have more kids, I would have you, take some of your paycheck and put it in to this, essentially what you were just talking about. But I was like, no, we're not having any more kids. Like, you don't have to worry about that. But I'm so glad that, a lot of these states are starting to see the value, and how amazing that even if you live in a state that doesn't offer that, that you still have the option to be proactive and do this on your own. 100%. I mean, so, so important. Oh,
Yeah. And I also just want to say, like, when we go to our employers too, maybe just giving like a little quick tip is like, if you're working in a state that doesn't have state benefits, so if you're not in California, Colorado, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, some of these big ones that have amazing benefits, and you're just like in Florida or Texas or somewhere that doesn't have benefits, go look at your employer documents. And even
mhm.
if your employer says to you, because they literally said this to my employee or my colleague back when I was, working, they said this to her like, oh, there's not, we don't get anything. So that's why she didn't take those benefits. Go look at your documents. And what you're going to look for is something called, and do like, I know, and everybody's like, oh, I hate looking at my employee documents. There's like 500 pages. So just control F, okay, when you're in there,
Control
and
F.
type in the word short term, or type in the word disability or short term disability, put it all together and see what pops up. That short term disability policy that your employer pays, that covers everything that anybody could need, can also cover your maternity leave and give you pay sometimes for up to 6 months or a year. And you just need to know how to use it for maternity leave. So, like, if you're going and you look at that, and maybe even a long term disability policy might kick in for you too. Depends. They're all written different. There's no two that are identical. I've never seen two identical, thousands I've read, but just know, like, even if you're in a state that doesn't have state benefits and your employer, like, we don't have anything. Remember rule one, like, don't trust the red flag, like, don't trust that what your employer is saying. Go look for yourself, and we need to know and be empowered with what to look for. So that is always the first thing I tell everybody to go look for. Just go look and see if you have short-term disability, something in your policy. And if you're like, oh my gosh, we do, okay, great. Then the next piece is like deciphering what it is. Like, then you need to get out your Rosetta Stone and figure out what benefits you actually do have and how they're going to apply to you.
If you've been wanting to reach your healthiest weight and feel like yourself again postpartum without having to sacrifice your favorite foods or your milk supply, I've got a free workshop just for you. Inside of this free workshop, you'll discover how to boost energy, mood, metabolism, and even protect your milk supply. You'll learn common mistakes that moms make that actually cause exhaustion, mood swings, low milk supply, and weight loss resistance to become worse, things that moms don't even realize. And you'll learn the proven 3-step method to heal your hormones and metabolism after baby so you can go from surviving to thriving postpartum. Plus, as a free gift, you'll get my postpartum snack guide when you come hang out with us. All you have to do is click the link in the show notes to save your seat today. Spots are limited. See you there. And how much time are you seeing? I know that there's a range, but like how much time are you seeing moms get off for maternity leave? And how much money, or even, is it up 1.2 times their salary, or what kind of percentages are you seeing of how much money they can make on maternity leave and how much time they can get off from maternity leave?
Yeah. Okay. Across the board, every state's different. Every woman is different. So I always have a hard time answering this question because no two maternity leaves are alike. And I always tell everybody, if you just carbon copy what your coworker in the next cube over, or the next office over, or your girlfriend or your sister or your cousin, if you copy their maternity leave, chances are you're probably leaving benefits on the table. So yes, get information from your friends and whatever, but like, don't just do what they do because everybody's different. Like everybody has different needs, different providers, all that kind of stuff. I would say on average in California, like our average client is taking 6+ months of maternity leave. Like we have women too, we have a course and then we have like one-on-one consulting for women who want, more help and more hand-holding. And we see a lot of women that come through in the one-on-one and they'll be like, I don't know if I really want to take all the time. Like I love my job. I'm super committed. I want to go back. I'm like a type A, and I get it. I was the same way. And then motherhood happens and they're changed and their goals are different. And now they're like, wait a minute, how do I get that 6-7 months? Like, how do I get that paid year? Like, then all of a sudden something switches in our brains and you probably know more about this than I do on like the physiological side, but like something switches and we just like, wait a minute, like, why is that so important? This job, I want to be at home or I want whatever we want, and that's okay. But I would say this on average, I see 6 months. And then I would say, but we have a lot of clients that do a year. A lot of clients that do a year. So I always tell women the 2 things you need to be thinking about, okay, when you're getting ready to go out. And to not blend these, okay, because they're not blendable, is make sure you know what your time off is and your pay is. Because in every single state in the United States, the legislation is separate. So the legislation that governs how much time off you're protected from your employer to make sure they don't discriminate against on you, make sure you keep your benefits, like how much time off you can keep, where they have to keep your job for you when you return to, that legislation is different and has different time limits than how long you can get paid, how much you can get paid, what taxes are collected off of, whatever your payments are. So they don't always line up. Like in California, you can be paid for a year, but your employer doesn't have to keep your job longer than 7 months. So we have some clients that are out for a full year. The max you can get, I'll just give for California because this is an easy one. It's like just shy of $100,000 for a year. So you can make, I guess like 96 and change totally if you're out. Most of that is completely tax-free. No state income tax, no federal income tax, no Social Security, no Medicare. So you don't pay FICA or anything. So when you look at it compared to your net income, right, of like what you would be making, at a job, to make $90,000 tax-free because you didn't realize you were paying into the Geico of California. And now you're going to go file that insurance claim that you didn't even know you could file for. You're going to now go do that. And then you're going to replace that money you came home with net. I would say so many of our clients, I don't know, have like a good percentage handle on it, but so many, well, we get on calls and we tell them, okay, this is what you're going to collect per week. You're going to get $1,800, $1,600 per week. Let's just say that's what someone's going to get. They're like, that's more than what I make. And I'm like, yeah, because you contribute to a 401k, you pay federal income tax, you pay Social Security, you pay Medicare, you pay state income tax, you pay all these, vision insurance, like whatever you're paying every month to your employer or whatever, like compare that net to what you're getting from the state. So I would say that like most women make the same when you look at net income to like this tax-free money. right? It's just like,
Yeah.
it's great. That also helps reduce like your family income taxes. And I've even seen some women who are self-employed who are on like the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, right? So they go
Mhm.
get in health insurance through the exchanges through states. When you're collecting benefits, it's not money that's reportable. So you make less money, so you can qualify for state subsidies on health insurance. So your health insurance may go down for a year,
Wow.
like for a family. So there's a lot of savings there. But every state is a little different, but that's what it is in California. I was working with a client this morning who's in New Jersey, and New Jersey, you can get 24 weeks of time off and you
Wow.
can get 38 weeks of pay,
Wow.
So it's like, and this client of mine, she works in the healthcare space, medical space, and she was like, "Yeah, I don't really care about returning to my job." I'm like, "Well, then your goal is max out the pay. Remember the two sides of the house, the
Yeah.
time off and the pay. Your goal is max out the pay. Who cares if they let you go?"
Right.
Then because she's like, "Oh, I'm a travel nurse. Like I can get
A
hired
job
anywhere."
anywhere.
Yeah, she's like,
Totally.
everybody's hiring.
100%.
Like,
Yep.
and
She's
maybe
good.
my goals are different. I mean, it is wild what women can get. And the last tip I have, if you're telling me like, "Oh, Diane, I'm not in a state that has pay, or I can't figure out my employer policy or whatever, it doesn't pay out great or it's bad or something, and you're not pregnant yet, go get a private supplemental
Yes.
disability insurance policy." That is personally how I made more being on maternity than I was working as an engineer. I had two supplemental disability insurance policies in addition to what I got from the state because they don't interfere. You can collect on all of them at the same time. And the best part is with these supplemental disability insurance policies, they are tax-free as well because you pay for them with post-tax dollars. So you're opting in to, I don't know, an Allstate or Aflac plan or whoever. Look at your employer. A lot of employers are offering supplemental disability insurance plans. So they'll bring in Aflac and they'll say, "Hey, does anybody want these? Like, there's a cancer policy. You can get pet insurance. You can get, like, you can opt into all of these insurances. Look for a supplemental short-term disability one that has like hospital indemnity, means when you check into the hospital, you can get paid out too. I mean, it just has like flat rate payouts that are tax-free that you could have to have more money, which pays for more weeks of time
Mhm.
off with your baby, more mortgage, more childcare, more help with breastfeeding, whatever you need to call in your village. It's just going to help
Yeah.
with all that.
Let's talk for a moment about the emotional and physical benefits to having a longer
Mm.
maternity leave and to potentially making more money than we, can at our full-time jobs. Do you want to share
Yeah.
some that you see?
Yeah, I would say this, especially with my moms that go out for a year. Those are my favorite. I
Yes.
love talking with these moms. In fact, I was talking to one earlier today. She is a mental health provider and she's been out for 10 months and she's finishing up her last 2 months. So her baby will be a year when she like
Wow.
goes back to work. And every single one of these moms is like, "I didn't know this was possible." Like they had no idea because nobody's employers are sharing this information. Why would they?
Right.
Right? Like, that's not in their best interest to share with these women, like how it works. Even if they knew, like, are they going to do it? Who knows? But
Mhm.
I would just say, like, all of these women are just so grateful for the time. They always talk about how they're the ones to care for their babies and like see all their first milestones. They got to see
Yeah.
the first rollover, the first word, or the first mama, the first crawl, the first walk, the first all of that, like first smiles, and just like how grateful they are. They got to see that. A lot of women talk to me about how they're really grateful. I don't know what this is all about, but like how they're grateful that they're the one that gets like feed their baby, like, doing the baby led weaning versus like putting their baby in a childcare where they don't have any control over that, or putting them off to a good sleep schedule because they're the one at home getting to do the naps and, kind of put them on all these good routines. And then, of course, there's secure attachment theories, right? Versus
Mhm.
like anxious attachment or avoidant
Yeah.
attachment. The more time off we have. And, we've talked about it too, like when our kids are home with us, they're not getting sick at school.
Right.
And that means like they're not getting sick at daycare and preschool, whatever, and not bringing more germs back in the house and like getting everybody else sick. And then you're having to waste days off, paid time
Right.
off, not on a vacation to Maui like you should be having with your family or going on that
Right.
cruise or doing whatever, going on your hiking, camping trip, but you're using it to like be at home with
With sick
the
kids.
norovirus. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The illnesses are like one of the biggest things. And, obviously, as a lactation counselor, I know just how important breastfeeding is and how many benefits there are for mom and
Mm,
baby. But also, if you have a year off with your baby, like it is going to be so much easier to breastfeed than if you're going back
mm,
to work at 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, I don't know about you, but I hate pumping. I hate pumping.
yeah.
you and I are going to be in Florida next week. Well, you're already there, but like
Yes.
I have to bring my pump and I'm like, oh, I have to store milk and bring my pump and do all these things. And it's like, it's such an inconvenience. And,
Mhm.
I've been home with my daughter she turns 1 this month. And it's like, we're still breastfeeding. And the fact that I don't have to pump 99% of the time makes breastfeeding so easy. And,
Mhm.
it's just, there's so many emotional benefits. You can heal fully from a C-section or from a vaginal birth and like fully take care of your health before you're forced to go back to work and get breastfeeding off to a good start, less germs for your baby. There's just so many amazing benefits. And like you said, they're first, that's so important. Can you share just how people can work with you, about your free workshop, and where people can connect with you?
Absolutely. Well, everybody can find me on my Instagram. We are at California Maternity Leave. Soon to be maybe something else. I don't know
Yeah.
as we expand to other states here, but at California Maternity Leave for right now, we're the experts in all things California. If you're in the state, come reach out. And then we've got a free workshop. So if you're in the state of California, check out our workshop. I really should dive into more mistakes that are the 5 critical mistakes that you need to make sure you're avoiding when you're going on maternity leave, because these are the things that prevent you from getting all your pay, all your time off. It's like, what are the tips? What should you be searching for in your employer documents? Like, how do all the alphabet soup of all the legislation, like how do they all come together in a way that makes simple sense? So we share that. And I think I'll include the link here. That's on my link in bio on my Instagram, or I think Brooke will have the link here in the show notes. But
Yep.
you can also check us out, californiamaternity.com. And we have a online course that has like live office hours. So like I've gone through and recorded my whole screen showing you
Love it.
employer documents. This is what to look for. This is what it might be called. This is what you should see. Like, and you can see verbatim. And I show real examples of real women and real clients that we've had that have gone out, what they've gotten, how to do it, how to document it with your employer. We have leave request templates that you can send to your employer so you don't have to worry about like, what do I need to put in writing? Like, what do I need to share with them? How do I protect myself? Like, we're looking out for moms and babies. So that's all in the course with live office hours every week. So if you got questions as they come up, we're here. And then we have one-on-one consulting too. So if you want more handholding, help with your paperwork, you want us to like do the heavy lifting for you, we can take care of that as well. So any of
Yeah.
those ways, I would say Instagram is probably the best way to get a hold of us though.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You are such a wealth of knowledge. I just love how much research you have put into this and how many moms you've been able to help, and moms and babies that you've been able to help. So thank you so much for sharing. And
Yes.
everybody, please go connect. Please send your mom friends, send your sisters, anybody, especially living in California, but really any of your friends who are pregnant or wanting to be pregnant. Make sure that you guys are following her. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening to the Postpartum Shift podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could share this episode with a mom friend and leave a written review. This helps the podcast reach and help even more moms. Come say hi over on Instagram at Nutrition for Mamas.